it means is no, human beings are not evolving, or I'm sorry, amoebas are not evolving up to human beings. What it means is that certain species have adapted to the environment and they survive. And those who cannot adapt fail. Some might be bigger, some might be stronger. I mean, biggest, most powerful dinosaurs, they could not adapt to the environment and they went away. They died. Yet, tiny little mammals, they survived. It's not the strongest, those who can adapt. And what it means is no, the lemurs are not evolving into humans. But humans and the lemurs or howler monkeys or whatever it might be, they have common ancestors. They have common ancestors. They're not evolving into it. So, chimps and humans have common ancestors. But 4 million years ago, you had some of these common ancestors branch off to be chimps or apes, and some into hominins, and eventually man. So, let's get into. So the first of this, first full skeleton of a hominin, of a common ancestor of ours and chimps, but one that would adopt into humans, would be in the Hadar region of Ethiopia, and her name was Lucy. That's what they dubbed her. You know why they called her Lucy? Yeah.
The Beatles.
Yeah, the Beatles. They were listening to the album Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, and the third song is Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. So, they named her Lucy. Female, about this tall, weighed about 50 pounds, but a hum to walk. And probably covered mostly with hair, but clearly not an ape, not a chimp. And this is not actually Lucy, this is a cast of the skeleton. And they got bits and pieces of it, but they knew enough that it was a woman. And they can tell a little bit about the diet. And they can tell a little bit about the size of the brain. Significantly bigger brain. Definitely different. Hands were different, beginning to have thumbs. And she was part of a family called, well, it's Arthropisthias, or the Arthropisthian group, were actually 3 of these creatures. But Arthropisthians is our direct ancestor, a southern ape. There were 3, kind of a bigger plant eater that was really gentle. We think seemed to be more gentle plant eater that would be destroyed by hominids down the road. A very smaller one that was kind of brushed aside, and Arthropisthians. Yeah, that was Arthropisthians. You know, tallest 4 feet tall. They did have thumbs. That's the first one about 3.2 million years when they started seeing signs of thumbs. Not quite. If you looked at them, you odds are you look like seeing chimpanzee's thumb. That's what it looks like. They probably didn't have tools, but unlike their direct relatives, they had a mixed diet. And so they were clearly hunting, and sometimes hunting bigger animals. And if you're going to hunt bigger animals, that means you got to work together. Cooperation. So you see the beginnings of civilization. They can tell by what they ate, they have a mixed diet. But the problem is, animal flesh, lots of protein, and other minerals. The problem with animal flesh is this: it takes a lot of energy to digest. It's the basic thing. It's a lot of energy. But still, lots of protein, kind of giving them a competitive advantage. But also, for eating other animals, that's cruelty. I mean, they're going to be pretty ruthless creatures. Humans are very ruthless. This area right here, that's probably what they look like. I like that picture. So it's definitely walking on 2 feet, and that's a hominid. These are creatures walking on 2 feet. Here in the mud are footprints of an Arthropisthius in Africa. They just found the footprints of somebody about 30,000 years ago in New Mexico walking on a dry river branches. Nice, perfect footprints. And earlier than they thought any humans were in the Americas. It's one of those things where nobody noticed it for years, just kind of walked through this thing, all of a sudden, Hey, those are footprints. And they've got to be thousands of years old or millions of years old. And so these are various finds for the various creatures. Let's get to the next one. So, and a direct advancement would be Homo habilis. Homo hominid, walking, clearly a big step. And habilis just simply means ability. That means they have hands and they made these. What are these?
Spear tips or like various stones.
Yeah, spear tips or just knives. They have this, we have to get down. Tools. They had tools. So they had tools. Now, they couldn't be that sharp, but with tools you could cut. It makes it easier to hunt bigger animals. It made them more dependent on cooperation. They could also cut fur and begin to have kind of clothes. We don't quite have sewing yet, but I mean, this is a big step. And we're still talking 2 million years ago. But you'll notice definitely more walking like humans, and the hand, it's close. It's close. And you can see by the skulls right there, Australopithecines, and you notice the skull begins to change. That's pretty close to here. And then all the way down to Homo sapiens sapiens. So the next big, Homo erectus. And this one you'll notice 1.6 million to 30,000 BC. And they're getting taller, longer arms. They're beginning to develop by walking, something you don't even think about. Arches on your feet, calf muscles, buttocks. Four-legged animals don't have this. So all these little things because they walk. No, you know the big thing is? They ran. They ran and ran. Now, unlike most animals, humans sweat. And these ones had very noticeable sweat glands. Now, we don't think much about sweat, you know, whatever. What advantage does sweating give you? You know? Yeah.
It cools you off.
It cools you off. So what can you keep doing? Run. And that's how they hunt. They ran their prey down. 2 legs gave them a different kind of mobility, but they could run them down while holding a tool. They could sweat. And therefore, probably, you know, going all the way back to Australopithecines, they were mostly in trees. They went down to pretty soon they don't need to be trees anymore. Just don't need it. And it totally changed. And you'll notice something else. They are hunter-gatherers. And so they are not only hunting, they're gathering, and there's a division of labor. Men are more hunting, women are gathering. By the way, why do the women gather? They have children. So they got to care for the children, so they got to stay, they can't be as mobile. Now, if I put this up, that means you got to know it. So you got to write this down too. And the other thing is, they had fire. They probably didn't know how to make it, but what they did is they literally hunted for fire. In China, they found the remnants of a Homo erectus, that they found a fire pit. And it's basically an example where they had kept fire going for hundreds of years. So basically the pit that was designed, they could constantly feed it so they could keep the fire going, so they always had a source of fire for their village. I'm sure there are many other ones, but they found the remnants. It's just perfectly preserved. Okay, if you look at a picture of it, it just looks kind of like a charred cave, but it, you know, they know that was it, so they could have fire. Now, what advantage does fire give you? Okay, heat. What's the biggie? What can you do with fire? Yeah, cooking food. Food. Yeah, keep you warm. So I said keep warm first, but yeah, you're right. Keep warm and food. What happens when we cook food?
If you don't easier to chew, you don't get sick, and it's easier to digest.
Easier to digest and chew. A lot easier. It breaks down the cartridge. It breaks down the cell. It makes it easier to get the nutrients. You eat cooked food, you eat it, you don't require as much energy to digest. If you don't need as much energy for digestion, what do you have more energy for? Running. Running and brains. the brain started getting bigger because they have more energy for that. I mean, how many stomachs does a cow have? 4 stomachs, because it requires so much to digest. And so all their energy goes to digestion. I don't even know if you know this, but cows aren't exactly as smart as humans. Did you know that? Most people are aware? Yeah. You know, little bunny rabbits, everything is for digestion of food. All of a sudden, it changed everything. More energy. They could run more and bigger brains. So write down bigger brains because of fire. And it's something people just don't think about. But when the bell rang, oh. So you guys have, they did tell you about intervention. That's just going to be on Monday. Oh, it's a meeting, Jeff, huh? The assembly? Hey, they got it. It's what you got to do. It's life. I'm telling you, life, whatever you do for the rest of your life, you're going to have to have
Good morning,
meetings,
Bruins.
and they gotta
Happy
remind you
Friday.
things you think
These
you already
are
know.
your Friday morning
Get ready
announcements.
for it.
Please rise for the pledge.
This
Please
is the
rise
American
for the Pledge of
Revolution.
Allegiance.
You want the Civil War?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's all I have for you guys this morning. Mr. Zanto will be on in a minute with some more announcements.
Remember where you
As
sit?
always, remember to be responsible, be respectful, and be a
Sections
graduate.
1 and 2
Go Bruins.
quiz. Sound good? We'll finish the rest of this and talk about Sumeria.
Good morning, Chapman students. Happy Friday. Hey, we made it through the first week of school. Let's see, class assemblies. Since I'm on, might as well remind seniors. Next period, third period, seniors, make sure you report to third period for attendance, then report to the gym. We will be brief, and our presentation will be followed by Jostens with some senior graduation item presentation, then followed by a senior class photo out in the main courtyard. So that'll be our plan for third period. But anyways, we have 3-day weekend and no school on Monday. Students, a reminder that picture day is next Wednesday.